Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajannaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jai Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikara Stodharashita Srimad Divine Grace is Abhay Charanarvindesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikara Stodharashita Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki I Gaur Premanande all girls assemble devotees all glories assemble devotees all glories Shri Guru and Gauranga all glories Srila Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nastapráyeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody for this morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 60, Text 7 and 8. So this chapter entitles Krishna teases Rukmini. So we'll just recite text 7 now. Vala Vaijnanam Adaya Ratna Dhanadham Shakhi Tena Vaijayanti Devi Pasam Chakra Ishwaram Vala Vijnanam Adaya Ratna Dhanadham Shakti Karat Tena Vaijayanti Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Vala Vijnanam Adaya Ratna Dhanam Shakti Karat Tena Vaijayanti Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Vala Vijnanam Adaya Ratna Dhanam Shakti Karat Tena Vaijayanti Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram. Please chant. Vala Vijnanam Adaya रत्नधनं शकीकरात् तेन ज्ञानैर्जीवी उपासं चक्र ईश्वरम् वालाविज्ञानम् आदाय धनाधनं शकीकरात् तेन ज्ञानैर्जीवी उपासं चक्र ईश्वरम् वालाविज्ञानं आदाय रत्नादनं शकीकरात् तेन विजायति देवी वाचां चक्र ईश्वरम् बालाविजयनमादाय रत्नादनं शकीकरात् तेन विजयति देवी वासनं चक्र ईश्वरम्. Thank you very much. Word to word meaning: Vala of Yang's hair, Vajnanam of a fan, Adaya taking, Ratna jeweled, Dhandam the handle of which, Shaki of her maid servant, Karat from the hand, Tena with it, Vajayanti fanning, Devi the goddess, Upasam Chakre she worshipped, Ishwaram her master. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: From her maid servant's hand, Goddess Rukmini took a young hair fan with a jeweled handle, and then she began to worship her master by fanning him. Since there is no purport, we'll just move to next verse, text 6. Translation: Her hand adorned with rings, bangles, and chamara fan, Queen Rukmini looked resplendent, standing near the Lord Krishna. Her jeweled ankle bells twinkled, and her necklace glittered, rendered by the kumkuma from her breasts, which were covered by the end of her sari. On her hips she wore a priceless belt. Purport: Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that as a queen, Rukmini fanned her lord with a broad stroke. The jewels and the gold on her beautiful limbs resounded with her effort. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Anantapati Vaishnava Ki Jai. So these two verses which basically describe uh, about the Rukmini's gesture and how she is worshipping her master Lord Sri Krishna, and it describes about a little bit on her bodily texture. And here Srila Jiva Goswami comments on this that word Devi indicates as a great queen. Sometimes we see that Devi means also refers to the some demigod, and Devi also refers to the one's wife, because this is a Sanskrit where there are different meanings depends on the context of the situation. So here Srila Jiva Goswami says that this Devi indicates a great queen, because even though she's a great queen and she's ready to do a service to her master, which is Lord Sri Krishna, by fanning. And this is a generally basic custom that whenever a husband comes to home after the long day work, she used to welcome him with a nice smile and invite into inside the house, and just have them sit and ask them his welfare, how was the day today. This was the basic dealings between the wife and husband. Here also we see that um, the beauty of the Rukmini Devi and how she is fanning Lord Sri Krishna, the fan made up of feathers, peacock feathers, and also young. This was very soft. This again the beauty of the serving in this manner. So she is a queen, and also she took the service of the her maid servant. Sometimes we see that great people like VIPs or um, rich people, they have many maid servants in their home, and they paid for them, and they are asked to they are meant for doing these kind of menial services. But Rukmini Devi so is so humble that she even doing her maid servant's job, because this is how reciprocation we see that, because everybody wants to serve Krishna, and even though they are maid servants assigned for the duty fanning, their job is to always do the fanning. At that time, like they don't have an electric switch, just turn on the switch. So that is but he ready to do, willing to do all kind of menial services. And in the text 8, a description elaborates her hand adorned with rings, bangles, and chamra fan. So it describes about what is a description of her hand. And Queen Rukmini looked resplendent, standing near Lord Krishna. So her jeweled ankle bells trilled, and her necklaces glittered, rendered by the kumkuma from her breast. So it's basically a description of the Rukmini's bodily ornaments and her gesture, and what ankles are like, what is she wearing on her hands. And Jiva Goswami comments that, sorry, yeah, Jiva Goswami gives an elaborate description, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, I just read, we can have discussion on this. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Rukmini appeared splendid with her jeweled anklets as she stood close to Krishna, because her whole body was moving due to her fanning with her hand. The anklets and the belt made musical sounds. Her hands were decorated with rings, bracelets, and fan. She was splendid with her breast covered by her buste, bosi, and the edge of her sari, with the glow of a kumkuma and a gold necklace and a priceless belt her on her waist. So here we see the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives elaborate description. I was remembering like this pastime, Damodar Leela pastime, where uh, Mother Yashoda, churning the butter. At that time, also Acharya's description of the various bodily uh, things of Mother Yashoda. She were wearing bangles, her hairs were loosened. So much description is given in the Damodar Leela pastime. So here also we see that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a various description, and here we see that the belt made musical sounds. In the Damodar Leela pastime, Mother Yashoda, when she was churning the butter, both her bangles were making the chun chun sound, like kartal sound. So I was remembering this pastime. So Acharyas gave very elaborate description and very deep meaning. Two things they give, because Acharyas have that vision and they go very deep into the pastime. That is how we meditate on pastime. It can be said just like okay, Rukmini, even though she is a queen, she just took the fan from the maid servant, she was just fanning, and that's the end of the verse basically. There is no much to detail of discussion. But when we hear the commentaries of the acharyas, we get a bigger picture. So that persons, in the age of Kali Yuga, they can meditate on the pastime. So each and detailed description was given, and Srila Jiva Goswami gives a more elaborate commentary on this. I just read it. She made a sound with her jeweled anklets. She shone because of her anklets, rings, and other ornaments. She became unaware of other around her because of a spruti of a Lord, as in the following manners. So sometimes we see that when people are absorbed in some particular activity, they forget their surroundings. They forget their surroundings. They forget their whom they are, where they are, and they forget what they are doing. It happens like when you are absorbed in particular, doing something, you forget your circumstances surrounded by you. You just absorbed in that part of duty. Just like when we do kirtan, or when we chant the holy name, or do some kind of activity which we love, then natural tendency to forget circumstances. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was dancing in front of the Jagannath Rathayatra cart. He forget basically where he was. Is it like he was dancing and dancing, and his whole world is seeing, but he forgets. Whole world, people around are seeing him, and in that pastime, he glorifies Lord Jagannath. Like I didn't remember that verse because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that oh, you are the same Lord Krishna. I am the same Radharani. We met in a bank of Yamuna. So he was basically description of his intimate pastime. So nobody could understand. Only one person I know could understand. I think Jiva Goswami, right? So he could understand the verse of that, and he could understand the mind of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So similarly, we see that Rukmini Devi, she forgets the surroundings. She was so absorbed in the service. It's called as Spruti. And in that manner she was serving Lord Krishna. So that's a kind of absorption we should have the person who are serving all the time. So we see that Yasukadeva Goswami, immediately remembering the subject matter of Krishna, about Krishna within the core of his heart, externally lost contact with actions of senses. So basically happens. So when you love something, you know, you don't see, you don't, really conscious of external things. Sometimes, you all might have experienced, like when you observe when you love doing something, when you get absorbed in that, You don't know what you're doing. That's the kind of absorption Rukmini Devi has. And also Sukadeva Goswami, when he keeps on uh, intimate pastimes, description of the pastimes of Lord Krishna and Rukmini Devi. So he further comments, there Krishna threw his arms around the gopis and embraced them. He aroused the cupid in the beautiful young ladies of Raja by touching their hands, hairs, thighs, belts, and breast. This is the description. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 29 chapter 46 verse, which I just read. Because of appearance of her friends, however, her emotions transformed. The beauty of her sacred experience is described. She did her breast completely with the two ends of her cloth, which was long. She made a sound with her anklets, bracelets, and the belt as he fanned him. Sanatana Goswami comments, having shown how she served him, she is described to show the cause of his affection for her. Her feet, hands, chest, and waist were almost beautiful. Were almost beautiful, or by fanning him, by moving her limbs. The ornaments sounded. So all the acharyas we see, they have the different vision, they have a different way of seeing, but their aim is one, to enhance, to add more rasa in the pastime, to add more taste in the pastime, and to get absorbed in the pastime. So one is absorption. How do you get absorption? When you know more details of the pastime. It is the it is what Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami and other Goswamis are description of the pastime. When you elaborate things detailedly, then there will be more absorption. Why do we need more absorption? One may ask. Because when we get absorption of the Krishna's pastime, then naturally we are thinking of Krishna. That's what says in Bhagavad Gita, Man mana bhavad bhakto madhyadimam namaskuru. So when you think of Krishna, then you will reach a highest perfection of life. So basically, we need to get absorption means we need to know more details of the pastimes. It can be this basic. If you see these two verses, which which basically description about a husband, sorry, a wife is serving a husband. In one line, it's finished. Correct. There's nothing much about it. Krishna is seated on this throne. Rukmini came there. She came and she took. He was fanning. That's all. There is not much. But people in this age of Kali Yuga to get more absorption in the pastimes of the Lord. So that's why these detailed pastimes are given. So one should get absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord. When there is absorption, then there is attention, then there is a thinking of Lord Krishna. When there is no when there is no details of pastime, then there will be no absorption. When there is no other absorption, and there is no thinking of Krishna, we just keep moving. So that's why we see in any pastime, like we take Putana pastime, there are various you know acharyas have given different interpretation on that, which are all bona fide. Sometimes we see that when Lord Krishna was a baby, when Putana was trying to Putana came to kill the Lord Krishna, Krishna closes eyes. For that, various acharyas have given this different kind of meaning, because one acharya says that Lord Krishna doesn't want to um, kill a lady, kill a lady. That's why he closed his eyes. And some acharya says that Lord Krishna doesn't want to see the demon, like that. The various acharyas given different interpretation and different purport, so get more absorption. Here also we see that Rukmini Devi, her bodily description, and what she's wearing, how she's gesture, and what you know like when she's wearing the belts, anklets, what they are sounding. Because in the Krishna pastime, or in transcendental Leela, each and every thing is a spirit. It's not a matter. Each and everything is a like we see this metal belts made a musical sound. So that means it has a consciousness. Like we see in the Damodar Lila pastime. You know, when Krishna was hungry, he came to mother. You know, uh, he was hungry, so mother immediately took Yashoda immediately took and started feeding her. So immediately there on the stove, the milk was boiling. It overwhelmed and it went into fire. So milk was thinking, okay, if Krishna is going to drink the mother Yashoda's milk, why I'm there here? I will suicide myself. It jumps into fire. That means we can understand each and everything in the Krishna's pastime has a consciousness. And it's chitta. It's called consciousness means chitta. We see this in material world, all this table, microphone, it doesn't have consciousness. It's just a matter. It doesn't come automatically. Okay, somebody is giving Bhagavatam class, it doesn't come automatically on the place, or this table doesn't come automatically, on my I will be holding Bhagavatam class, let me go and serve. It doesn't come like that. Somebody has to keep microphone, somebody has to keep table, chair, everything, board. These are all matter. Matter doesn't have consciousness, but in the Krishna's pastime, each and everything is conscious. So we see that these ornaments which Rukmini Devi is wearing, they have also consciousness. That's why they are making musical sounds. It's not a just decoration of just ordinary bangles, rings, but they are consciousness. They are, they have chitta. That's why we see that in the temple we take we respect a musical instrument very special. We say it expansion of the Balram. Actually, it's a temple. His whole temple is an expansion of the Balram. You know, whenever Lord Krishna, you know, performs the pastimes, so he expands, Balaram expands, into the various paraphernalia of Lord Krishna. On the altar, we see the peacock feather, chamara, all the paraphernalia or expansion of the Balaram. We may not realize it, but they are. But that's why we don't, what you call, we don't throw the, Krishna's ornament. We keep it in a safe. We keep it in order. Just we don't like use Krishna's jewelry anywhere. We just after decoration, and after decoration also when the jewelry becomes old, we give the gift to the devotees as a maha. We just don't put it in the garment. Even the garlands, even the garland worn by Krishna, then worn by acharyas, Prabhupada, then worn by senior disciples of Prabhupada, then we will get as maha. Why? Because it is used in the service of Krishna. That's why it has that importance. So basically, my point is that each and every thing of Krishna's pastime, whether it is we see that as a matter, but it is not a matter. Each and everything has a chitta. It has consciousness. So we should be also careful, like when we are using the musical instrument, when we are dealing with the paraphernalia of Krishna, or when we are dealing with any kind of matter in the temple, we should be very careful. We should not, this is a lesson. Sometimes we see that, kicking the things, we just kick the mat with the on the floor, or we just see some kind of thing, we just press it. No, we should immediately pick it up and put it in dustbin, even though it is a dust, even though it is a flower. We should not kick it like that. There's a habit, when, if, for example, if a flower on the floor, you just pick it with your hand, put it in the dust. You cannot, kick, or you just like a mats, a japa mats. You cannot kick it in. After finish, okay, we sit, we chant nicely, all 16 rounds. After, when japa is done, we just push with the hands, push with the leg. It goes so that it can go in corner. No, we should not do that. These are all the expansion of Balram. So, so that's why we should respect it. We see that, ankles, belts, it's creating musical sounds. One can understand, we cannot perceive that in the beginning. We cannot understand. Just like it doesn't mean that kartal is making only musical sound. It should be only respected. You know, all the other items, all the other paraphernalia, Bhagavatam board, it is every day. On that we write Bhagavatam verses. And this microphone is always used in the glorification of Krishna, chanting the holy name, giving classes. So these are all the things which I like to share. So um, basically, is a description of the verse is given here by these two acharyas, and says that this is all the expansion of the Lord Krishna. So we should have consciousness that while using them. So now I don't have much to share. If anybody has any comments, okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
It's a really nice description of how important the pastimes are, and it makes me realize that how important it is for a soul, conditioned soul or liberated soul, to find something self transcending, to find something that they can absorb themselves in, that to get really absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna, to know the very details that this flower is lotus flower, and Rukmini Devi is wearing these earrings and this kind of sari, and you mentioned how the details of Damodar pastimes are there, and all of these details are there so that we can be absorbed in those pastimes. And Prabhupada says that when we read Krishna book, we read the pastimes of Krishna in absorption, we become we become the part of that eternal Leela.
Hmm.
So, and the same thing can happen in material world also. People make plans of, this is how their house will be, and this is their job will be, their family. So they absorb themselves in
Correct.
those images.
Correct.
So just was appreciating, and uh, I was able, I was seeing that how much there is a need for every living entity to find something to be absorbed in, something self-transcending that they can get out of their own.
Yeah, nice point you brought. Basically, see, absorption is there for a materialistic person and for devotee also. It's naturally there within everyone's, like to get absorbed in the, like as you gave mentioned example. Okay, if somebody is planning to construct a home, he will think of, okay, I will have this here, this room here, that room here. So he's always absorption, that that is natural in everyone's heart, everyone's tendency. But same absorption, here we need to dovetail in the past, hearing the pastimes of Krishna. What happens, what is the benefit we are getting here is, so when we get absorption, we will feel that pleasure, we will feel that taste, we'll feel that satisfaction. Whereas in the material things, okay, you may be absorbed, a person may be absorbed in the construction of a house, or construction of his company, or construction of his son, or building up his career. He will get absorption. If by chance, if he something happens, if that doesn't get fulfilled, you know he will, he will get so disturbed, and so disturbed that he may do any he may do he may get rid of his life, and he will give up his life. Sometimes it happens because like a person like was planning to have a big house and kind of nice rooms and interior decorations, everything, but all the the day one when he grows, entering the house, he was thinking to, okay, I will on this maybe next month 10th, I will have an inauguration of my house, and I will do housewarming ceremony, and I will go in that. I will stay from that. Sometimes death may take it away. Who knows? All his plans are demolished. Earthquake or something may had happened. So he will lose you know, all his interest, and he will commit suicide or something. But here in this pastime, there's nothing like that. Now, when you get absorbed, you will get that rasa, that kind of satisfaction. That's why Krishna says, when you get absorption, here is a guarantee. Krishna has given. Here you will get guarantee satisfaction. But there, material world, happiness, distress, sorrow, misery, sometimes. Yeah, nice point, Prabhu. Thank you. Sevananda, Prabhu.
Thank you for the class and everything. Um, as far as like instruments and paraphernalia being like expansions of Balaram, like you were mentioning the mats and stuff, we should not kick them. So when a person is in the householder ashram, so it should be non-different, right? If their consciousness is in the proper consciousness, then even their paraphernalia in their home should be thought of as just as holy as the things in the temple, right? And whatever they're using for preaching or whatever, it should be. Should it be the same? Is my question.
Yeah, yeah. This basically will have only devotees. Basically, devotees will think like this. Others, they don't matter. Others, they don't care about that. If you are if a grihastha, ideal grihastha, if he is worshipping deities, and if he is holding his family Krishna conscious way, he will naturally think of, these are all expansion of Krishna. We should respect it. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I've always wondered, um, and and I'm not expecting you to have an answer, but I'm just going to ask a question. Um, okay, an ideal householder, I think I've heard is considered as good as sannyasi, as good as a sannyasi, right? So how come, or does a ideal householder also, can they have a samadhi? Like in the sannyasis, they have samadhi and their
Mhm.
bodies are not burnt.
Mhm.
So can that same process be for an ideal householder?
Um, I remember, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think he has samadhi, right, Mataji? Ah, he has his wife too. See, it's not something new which you brought. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a householder, and he has samadhi, and his wife also has samadhi. Like and like depends on the qualification. It is not that like one cannot have. At the same time, qualification matters. Like um, like you may not say that every brahmachari will have a samadhi. Maybe may if he goes into the sannyasi life, depends on qualification again. Here we see the Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a great personality, and he not only he, his wife is also got samadhi. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So who decides, or how is it decided as to, like, there are people that I know in the congregation here
Yeah.
that if they remained in the household or ashram, they have ideal lives. You know, they're ideal in setting examples of how they lead their lives. So, but who decides whether or not a person gets the samadhi?
Yeah, it's not ultimately it's not me. I did it is the basically this question you can ask the senior devotees, like not me. I mean, like sorry, senior like Brahma, sannyasis or Maharajas, Mataji also can maybe. I don't know who decides that aspect. I haven't heard of this recently. Anything like it happens, or it might happen. I don't know. You just ask some of the senior devotee, which you think he's a senior, which you think he knows much. He has much knowledge. You can maybe ask him. Yeah. Thank you very much.
It's on.
Um, on that point you were making of the detail given by the acharyas and how it expands one's ability to be absorbed in the particular pastime. um, the description of kumkum powder in the chest area has always been a little puzzling to me because one always thinks how it stains the fabric.
Yeah.
So I've always found that detail. I always go, oh, the fabric's going to be stained.
See, this is
So it sort of disrupts. It disrupts for me.
yeah. See, this is what we need ultimately. This is what Mataji, very nice point you brought it. Like sometimes I also think, not particular this incident. Sometimes I think that okay, when Krishna is going to the forest and having carrying his lunch boxes, and I was thinking like okay, Krishna is on one hand he's taking care of the cows and calves, and at the same time who is carrying his lunch boxes? And that question, and also in the pastime of Ramayana, it is mentioned that like when Lord Ramachandra, with the Sita, Mother Sita, and while Lakshmana was watching, so that their pastimes cannot be, should not be disturbed. At that time, Lakshmana was, seriously doing guard duty, and when see how come Sita Mataji will not have any kind of alarm? Okay, now we are done. You can come, or now you can take rest. How would Lakshmana could understand? These are all the things which we can discuss with some senior devotees. They can have a broader idea, like you as you mentioned, like how is this fabric will not get rest, and also this is what you know this is what we need to have a discussion. That's why this elaborate description is given. That's why machitta matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nitya tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So in Bhagavad Gita, there's a bodhayanta parasparam. When you discuss katayanta Krishna kata, then you know that what you call that rasa will come, that that satisfaction or that answers will come, or we are getting absorption. This is you are getting absorption. How, why, what, getting absorption. So that is what um, it point is about, get absorbed in the pastime and get immersed in that. Maybe you can ask somebody senior so that he'll have a bigger picture. Okay, thank you so much. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Jai.